Hello. Welcome to a very curious place. Halloween Horror Fest Day 6. I am desperately trying to do like an entire week and at least get that out of the way so then I have a little bit of reprieve. But these bugs are driving me nuts. So instead of doing what I actually had planned for Day 6, which we won't even talk about that because we're going to talk about it later. We're going to talk Halloween movies. So this is Halloween movies part 1 on Day 6, which is confusing. But these are some of the movies that I really think that, you know, I love the best. And there's some of the movies that I think are watched a lot on Halloween, either because they're horror movies and people think, you know, oh, it's Halloween, gotta watch a horror movie, or because they involve Halloween somehow. Sorry, it's this damn camp chair. As soon as it gets cold, I'm going to start working on the filming room, which will be a blessing. But we're going to do this. So we're going to start out with the Halloween Town series, which is started in 1998. Then we had Halloween 2, Calabar's Revenge in 2001. Then Halloween Town High in 2004. Then Return to Halloween Town 2006, and that was the final movie in the series. Unless they decide to bring these kids back as adults with kids, you know, and make a new one. Who knows? You know, anything's possible. The next one, I think, is one of the... Sorry, this chair is killing me. It's one of the movies that I think is kind of like an iconic Halloween movie, and that is Hocus Pocus, which was released in 1998. I think Hocus Pocus is one of those movies that when you think about Halloween, you think about that movie. Everybody I think knows about Halloween Town, knows what it's about, you know. I also think everyone knows about the Hocus Pocus and the Sanderson sisters and Black Flame Candle and the book Bound in Human Skin. So I don't think we really have to tell you about that. The next one is a series of movies that has been long running and was actually started when the very first one was released in 1978, and that is Halloween. Main character, Michael Myers, who basically stalks and kills teen babysitters on Halloween night. And that is actually how it was described in the thing. 7 sequels. John Carpenter film, and one of the earlier movies featuring Jamie Lee Curtis. Next one, also iconic, much earlier than the rest of these, that would be The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, which was released in 1966. Also kind of, I think, an iconic Halloween movie. I mean, everybody, I think, at some point in their life has watched Linus talk about the Great Pumpkin and the pumpkin patch, and how the Great Pumpkin comes down to the prettiest pumpkin patch on Halloween night, you know, and I remember I did. The next one, which oddly doesn't, it's Halloween-ish, but it's also kind of Christmas-ish, which would be The Nightmare Before Christmas, which was released in 1993. Doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it was. Involving Jack Skellington, who, you know, ends up having Santa Claus kidnapped, and, you know, it was an interesting thing. I don't think there's any certain way to explain, you know, what goes on in A Nightmare Before Christmas other than creepy fun chaos, and you should watch it. Jack Skellington's awesome, you know, the songs and the music of the show is awesome. You know, Kidnap the Santa Claus. I love that. I do. Next one, also an iconic movie. It's not really, it didn't, I don't know if it started out as kind of like an iconic Halloween thing, but it somehow became that. And that movie is The Rocky Horror Picture Show, which was released in 1975. I think everybody knows what The Rocky Horror Picture Show is. You know, two, you know, kind of dorky kids, or they weren't kids, but, you know, they were playing young adults. Their car breaks down after they get engaged, and they're going to go visit a friend who got them together, their professor that got them together, and in the process, they end up in, yeah, Dr. Frankenfurter's house, and it's just, it gets weirder after that. But it's a good movie, and it's got some great music, and you know what? Tim Curry and a bustier and, thigh-high stockings. I mean, you can't get better than that. You just can't. You know, and you will never convince me that it can get better than that. I'm sorry, you just can't. Just, you can't. The next movie, damn bugs, that's not it. The next movie is The Craft. It was released in 1996. I'm reading my cheat sheet. I would never have remembered the years otherwise. So 1996, and this basically involves a bunch of teen witches, three of which that were practicing witchcraft and with no luck, and then this one girl moved to town, and suddenly everybody's full-fledged witches, and they're getting their wishes, and yeah. And then, of course, as it always happens, it goes bad. Isn't that always the way? The next one is actually Night of the Comet, which was put out in 1984. This is one of my favorites to watch every Halloween. Basically, it's this comet is going to be pass. Sorry, bugs. This comet is going to pass very close to Earth, and everybody decides to do a comet show kind of thing. They're watching the comet, and they're wearing little comet things on their head, and it's a big party, and what they don't realize is that it's also going to kill out basically everybody on the planet. Unless you happen to have been in like a really thick metal building of some type, you know. So yeah, this is about, before it happens, after it happens, what goes on with the people, and so on and so forth. And it kind of leaves it open that you kind of assume at the end that, what you hope happens, but you don't really know, so you just, it is what it is. But, I mean, it's not a high-budget movie. It's kind of cheesy. It was the 80s. But you know what? It's one of my favorites. I love that movie. It just, it just is one of my favorites. I can't explain it. It also has some actors that I have watched in other movies, two of which were in the movies, and don't ask me what their names are. I can't remember that. Two of them were in the movie Eating Raoul. Very funny movie. If you've never seen it, watch it. It has nothing to do with Halloween. The other one, there was a guy that was in this Night of the Comet that played actually one of the leading roles in the movie Valley Girl back in the 80s. And these other movies are all in the 80s. Also, nothing to do with Halloween, but, Nicolas Cage, it was an awesome movie, so you should, check out those. The next one is another John Carpenter film. It's called The Fog, also starring Jamie Lee Curtis, but in addition to that, it's also starring her mom, Janet Leigh. This is basically a story of a little town in California that's right on the edge of the coast, and it's got a rocky sea line, and it's got Adrienne Barbeau in it. And I know I said this before because I have talked about The Fog before, because it is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love saying her name. I love saying Adrienne Barbeau. I love saying Adrienne Barbeau's name. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I like it saying her name just like I enjoy saying the word bougie. I love saying the word bougie, and I love saying the name Barbeau. I'm weird like that. But anyway, it takes place in this town that apparently has a curse on it. Don't kill people for their money, even if they're lepers. Don't do that. It's not nice. It's rude. But yeah, this town has a curse on it. The Fog was released in 1980. I just want to say 1985. It was released in 1980. The year before my life was ruined. My brother was born in 1981. It was a good year before he was born. He knows he ruined my life. There was also a remake of The Fog, which was put out in 2005. It sucked. It sucked. It was terrible. It was horrible. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't think John Carpenter had anything to do with it. At least I hope he didn't, because that would be sad. But yeah, the remake was terrible. Don't watch it. It was horrible. It was that bad. But watch the original, the one in 1980 with Jamie Lee Curtis, Janet Leigh, and Adrienne Barbeau. Watch that one because it was fantastic. Um, Now the next, because we're doing them in like groups of 10, and I think the next one makes 10. An also iconic Halloween movie, Beetlejuice, which was released in 1988. Beetlejuice, as you know, I'm sure everybody knows what Beetlejuice is about. It's about a couple that dies and has to learn how to deal with the afterlife when, let's be honest, they weren't doing really good with real life, so the afterlife is kind of a stretch for them, you know. But anyway, this is about them dealing with it and learning how to deal with the living, and these bugs are driving me crazy. And learning how to deal with the afterlife and the living now that they're dead. It's a great show. It's funny. It's got some great scenes, like the Deo scene where they all sing and then their food basically attacks them. It's awesome. Definitely check it out. I'm only going to do series of 10 in one video, then we're going to move on to the next video, which will be day 7, and do the next series of movies. Alright? So as always, much love from Monty in a very curious place. Stay spooky, sweeties.